Too often the silver medalists in 9 World Cup campaigns, Argentina have played
the Netherlands. Argentina on the left of your picture being led out by their captain, number 11, Karina Masota, and the Netherlands being led out by their captain, number 10, Mange Donners. And an important occasion it is, not just for the Netherlands this afternoon, but also for Mange Donners, who will play her 192nd game for the Netherlands, which is a new Dutch record. The two teams are lining up in the middle of the field. The officials for this game will be Julie Ashton Lucy and Marilise de Klerk. And we're standing by now for the national anthems. And the team just being introduced, the team's just being introduced publicly. The Netherlands have won this title 5 times, more than any other country. Argentina have been frustrated in their attempts to win the World Cup. They have been runners-up 3 times, and it promises to be a very exciting final. Argentina versus the Netherlands. Both teams have finished on top of their pools. Argentina were first in Pool A. They won 7 matches, the 7 that they played. The only team not to drop a point during the pool competition. And the Netherlands finished on top in Pool B. They won 6 games and drew 1. In the semi-finals, Argentina defeated Australia 1-0 and the Netherlands defeated China by 1-0. A terrific crowd here at the Perth Hockey Stadium this afternoon. A fine and warm afternoon for this final of the 2002 World Cup. And we're now standing by for the national anthems.
National anthem of the Netherlands.
As the players from both teams shake hands. Argentina looking a little bit like the walking wounded. Mind you, there are some players out there for the Netherlands who are also bearing scars. Let's look at the 2 lineups. Firstly, for the Netherlands, their goalkeeper, their starting goalkeeper will be number 1, Florinda Sinagar. She is a very, very good keeper, one of the best in the world. Number 3, Lucia van der Vaart is a player to keep an eye on. She's part of the dynamic engine room that the Netherlands have in the midfield. She's scored 3 times. Number 6, Marge Skeepstra, has had a very good tournament at right half. Number 10, Mange Donners, is the captain, playing her 192nd game today, as I mentioned, a record for the Netherlands. She scored 5 goals. Number 11, Argate Boongaard, She is a defender, but she's a key player in the penalty corner battery, a lethal drag flick. She scored 4 goals, and she's playing her 150th game today. The Argentinian lineup, number 1, Mariela Antoniska, is their goalkeeper. She is also class. Number 2, Augustina Garcia, a brilliant striker. 8 field goals so far in the tournament. She stepped up in Vanina Aneto's absence. Aneto comes back into the side. She was there for the semi-final, there again today with a broken hand. Number 8, Luciana Aymar, a skilled midfielder. Number 11 is Karina Marsota, the captain, and a very talented forward. And number 16, Cecilia Rognoni, very good in deep defence, a real tough nut as the Argentinian players break from their huddle. There's their coach, Sergio Vigil. His counterpart today is Mark Lummers. He's wearing a rather untidy shirt, but there's a story behind that. They undertook a trek in Malaysia, the Dutch team, and at the end of the trek, they all hugged Lummers in that shirt, and he hasn't washed it since. With me in commentary this afternoon is dual Olympic gold medalist Jen Morris. Jen, quickly, what's the key to the game?
For the Netherlands, their defence is obviously their key. Argentina, Aymar, Garcia in great form. They're going to have to stop them, the Netherlands. It'll be interesting to see what they'll do. They'll throw lots of overheads, but for me, 3-1 for Argentina.
And the World Cup final, the 2002 World Cup final, is underway. Argentina playing to the right of your screen in the first half. Argentina versus the Netherlands. They finished on top in their respective pools. Argentina, the only team in the tournament not to drop a point. They won their 7 pool games. They won their semi-final by defeating Australia 1-0. The Netherlands won 6 and drew 1 in the pool, and they won their semi-final against China 1-0 also. There's a lot of similarities between the statistics of these two teams, and we're looking forward to a very exciting game. Both teams have the capacity to score and score heavily. The ball up towards the half line for the Netherlands, and that's Donner's going to ground, the Dutch captain. Already the game starting at a fairly lively pace as Van Geenhausen moves the ball across to Skeepstra on the right. This is More de Milo, the ball knocked away from her. Argentina scored 17 goals during the pool games, had 2 scored against them. The Netherlands scored 22 goals. That was the most by any team in the tournament, conceded 5. It's the Netherlands who are pushing forward early. Smarbers, a key midfielder. Deep ball to Donners. She's been terrific during the course of this tournament.
So far, we've seen Osega, number 3 for Argentina, closely marking Donners. They need to do that, not allowing her any space.
The umpire's just not happy with the players here as Donners brings the ball in. There's the cross, cut out well by Margalot. She had her nose broken earlier in the tournament. The other interesting player out there is Jonne Schotman, number 15 for the Netherlands. And Schotman has actually taken a place in the starting lineup, and she was struck a very nasty blow on the right cheek late in the semi-final, and she was taken to hospital, but she's been discharged and has taken her place in the starting lineup. This is Skeepstra just knocking the ball back.
It's great to see Scotland out there. I can't help think
This is
though
her.
that she'll be feeling tentative.
It's her right cheek that's heavily taped. Sorry to interrupt there, Jen, but while we had a shot of her, she wears a what to cricket supporters would look like a batting glove on her left hand, and her right cheek is heavily taped. As Argentina attempts to stretch the Dutch defence and set something up from the back. Ball coming back across to the sideline, and Margalot not able to control it. Smarbers moves it on quickly. Donners is the target, but she was well checked in there by Osega, who is marking her very closely, as Jen mentioned. This is Aymar, a wizard in the midfield.
Interesting, both Minky Schmarbers and Van Geenhausen marking Aymar. She almost needs 2 players on her all the time. We know that she's very skillful. She can get out of tight situations. If you allow her space, she will then make a critical pass through to one of the Argentinian strikers. The Netherlands have to guard against that.
Long ball. The target was Rondo. She wasn't able to control it, so Skeepstra brings the ball back into play. Boomgard just releasing the pressure. It's intercepted by Garcia. Opportunity early here for Argentina, but they're able to get the ball out of trouble. Senegal made the initial clearance.
We see Garcia, we've spoken a lot about her. She goes through the circle. That's the first real chance of the match. The Netherlands, we've talked about their defence being critical. They have to be very careful there not to give easy chances to Argentina.
This is Stepnik. Argentina moving it forward again. Aymar looking left. Rognoni with a drive towards the top of the circle. There was no one there. We'll keep an eye out for number 2. Agustina Garcia. She scored 8 field goals in the tournament. As Aymar takes the ball forward again, Garcia's on the left. Sorry, it was Garcia on the right. It wasn't on the right. The goal has been put in by Rondo. Number 21, Rondo. Garcia is going left, and I thought that's where the ball would go. Perhaps that's what the Dutch defence thought also. And Argentina have scored in the first 5 minutes of the final.
We said the Netherlands cannot allow Argentina through by play of their poor mistakes to allow them into circle. It's Aymar steals the ball. She gets the ball through to Rondo. Rondo's landing well there. No real chance for Senegal. But that's the key. If they're going to make unforced errors, Argentina will capitalise on them.
So a terrific start for Argentina, looking to win their first ever World Cup gold medal. They lead the Netherlands 1-0. Donners moves the ball forward. This is Van der Vaart just inside the attacking quarter. Now Skeepstra. She's met by Rognoni, and it will be a free hit to the Netherlands just outside the circle. The save was made by Antoniska, the Argentinian goalkeeper, and then knocked away by the defence. Skeepstra has the chance to reapply the pressure for the Netherlands. She's got the free hit. Brings the ball back to De Bruyne. That has deflected and gone over the sideline. It will be a Dutch ball to be taken by Boomgard. In fact, it was Boy in the midfield, not De Bruyne. Moray de Milo is dispossessed. And here is Scotland with her right cheek heavily bandaged. I doubt that she could see out of her right eye. She wasn't able to at the end of the game in the semi-final. Scotland again. Skeepstra. Back to Boy.
The Netherlands are patient with their defence. They will keep doing that, and then they'll wait for an opening in the defence of Argentina. Argentina actually a missed trap there by Aymar, but they had made the intercept.
So it's a free hit taken by Verbakel. Argentina now with possession from the side, but they're very deep in their defensive area. Hernandez goes on for Argentina. Been playing just over 7 minutes as the ball is run out of defence, but not very constructively by Argentina.
We saw Aymar just take a break there. Hopefully, she was limping after that goal was scored. For Argentina's sake, let's hope she's not injured in any way.
The ball coming back into the midfield for Argentina. Rondo is number 21, but it's Scotland who breaks it up. Van der Vaart going out towards the right. Opportunity out there, but the ball knocked across the sideline. This is Donners again. She'll work hard on both sides of the field. Trying to get the ball into the circle. Volkart is the player on the sideline for Argentina. Boy makes the interception, the ball bouncing back towards the circle, and that was touched, I suspect, by Rognoni. So it was a long corner to the Netherlands, and they've taken it quickly. Donners gets the ball into the circle, but there was no one there. Verbakel just behind her opponent. So Argentina will get some relief with a free hit from the sideline.
The Netherlands players in the circle seem a little bit tentative. They weren't set up well. They're allowing the cross to go right across the top of the circle without finding one of their players.
That was a long ball by Rognoni, and it was a risky one. It's deflected to Skeepstra. This is Smarbers, in fact. Ball back in the direction of Skeepstra. She ran on well. Now Van Geenhausen. Donners. It's More de Milo, in fact, and the ball goes across the sideline. More de Milo back to Van der Vaart. 7 is Van Geenhausen. Free hit to the Netherlands just outside the circle. Argentina lead 1-0 in the final of the 2002 World Cup. The goal was scored by Enes Arondo, number 21. Skeepstra gets the ball close to the circle. Opportunity here for the Netherlands, but it's taken away by Rognoni, and she'll get the free hit.
Rognoni makes the good tackle, but then she tries to run the ball out of defence. They ended up with a free hit. Often she'll get a little bit too confident, Rognoni. You have to be there if she's going to run the ball out of defence to steal it off her.
Margalot at close quarters to Hernandez. Another free hit from the side to Argentina. A big crowd and a noisy crowd in attendance at the Perth Hockey Stadium for the final of this World Cup. Argentina lead the Netherlands 1-0. We've played just over 10 minutes in this final as Boyce sweeps the ball to Skeepstra. Clever deflection sends Van der Vaart away. More de Milo's up with her. Tackle applied. The hit taken very quickly. More de Milo again, being forced back almost outside the circle. There's the reverse stick shot, but it misses to the near side. Mark Lummers, the Dutch coach.
More de Milo, we know that players these days at this world level can shoot very, very well on the reverse stick. She was allowed to have a little bit of space, unfortunately, over the back line.
Isega at the back for Argentina. Margalot along the line. Goreski not able to control it. Boomgaard brings it in dangerously, surely, and it will be a free hit to Argentina from the side.
Often raised balls like that. We know that Boomgaard hits the ball very well. A little bit of nerves early on in the tournament of the final of for the gold medal, and being 1-0 down, perhaps the Netherlands are a little bit more nervous than Argentina.
This is Vorkart on the left for Argentina. The Netherlands get the ball back in the midfield, but Aymar dispossesses Smarbers. Boomgaard back there to tidy up. He's tapping the ball back in Smarbers' direction. Steptek running it down, gets the free hit. Ball rolled away from her, so that will hold Argentina up. They haven't been forward for a while. The last time they went forward, it was with good effect. They lead by 1-0. This is Rognoni. Very, very talented player. The ball into the circle. Aneto is on. Here's an opportunity. Aymar missed with the first strike attempt. Sinagar had come well out from her goal. Donners. Margalot using her body.
We know Rognoni. We see her hit the ball there. She's very good in broken play, bringing defence into attack. Aymar with a swing and a miss. Another good chance for Argentina.
Boy at the back for the Netherlands. Van der Vaart, busy in the midfield as always. Here's Aneto. She broke a hand in the first game of the tournament and didn't play again until the semi-final. She's a dynamic striker, so they've taken a risk with her, as I guess the Netherlands have with Jon-Erk Schopman and her cheekbone or her facial injury. Smarbers slides the ball across to More de Milo, but good pressure applied by Goreski. Boomgaard there to lend support to More de Milo. And the Netherlands should get out of trouble. Schopman, coolly. This is Boy. Smarbers, back to Boy. Long ball intended for Meek van Geenhausen. She wasn't able to rope it in. As the Argentinian coach, he would be well pleased with their start. Goal on the board in the first 5 minutes of the final.
Argentina working very well in the midfield. Often they're falling away when Netherlands have the ball. As soon as the pass is made into the midfield, players like Stepnik, Orondo, Aymar are making lots of steals in the middle of the field. This then allows them to attack with less numbers to take on the Netherlands defence.
One of the highlights of Argentina's performance during the course of this tournament has been the form of Agustina Garcia, who has scored 8 field goals. She really stepped up when they lost Vanina Neto with that hand injury, and she now seems to be sharing her time on the field with Neto, and I just wonder what effect that might have, Jen, on either way. Is it a positive for Argentina or a negative?
We know how good Neto is in carrying the ball, particularly in the circle. But Garcia, as you said, Wally, she has really stepped up in this tournament. She was given her chance when Neto broke her hand, and I would have her on there. She's the one that's come into this with form. She's already scored 8 goals, and perhaps for the Netherlands, they would be really wary of Garcia. Maybe she's only off for a little bit of a break, but I'd be giving her more time than we've seen her play so far in this first half.
She was their goal scorer in the semi-final. As the Netherlands swing the ball around at the back. They're just having trouble finding a way through this Argentinian defence at the moment. Neither side has forced a penalty corner. But Argentina lead 1-0. More de Milo giving a very good contest in there for the Netherlands, and she wins the hit. Not much of her, but she's feisty.
Hernandez just having a push on More de Milo, earning Netherlands the free hit.
That ball did find its way through feet. This is Smarber's chance here, but a good save has been made by Burkhardt for Argentina. She's got her head up, just looking for someone to give it to. Loses it to Skeepstra. Here's Scottman. Smarbers. Back to Scottman. More de Milo. Smarbers now has a little bit more room to move, but she chooses to go back to Boy. Van der Vaart. Skeepstra drags the ball back infield. That was decisive by Skeepstra. Well played. Rognoni down low. Illegal tackle. Van der Vaart into the corner. Koeman is on. Argentina keep the ball alive. Rognoni just lifting it over an opponent's stick. Smarbers was met in there by Gonzalez Oliver. This will be a free hit to the Netherlands just outside the circle. Argentina are back in number. In fact, the entire team is in the defensive circle. Smarbers will bring the ball in. No, she won't. Boomgaard will. The ball pops up. Play on is the call. The Argentinians calling for a decision, and so too are the Dutch. So on balance, you would think the umpire probably made the right decision. Boomgaard. Boy goes across to Scottman. Scottman with a long pass. Burkhardt. Donners gets rid of it. It's come off her foot. Bad luck for the Dutch captain.
That's what you need to do, though. Be nice and close to her and provide a contest each time the ball is passed through to Donners.
Gonzalez Oliver got the pass out to Aymar. She's gone quiet after a busy first few minutes. Back to Gonzalez Oliver, but now they turn it over. Scottman into the midfield, sends Smarbers away. And good run down the left from More de Milo. She hasn't seen that. Skeepstra provides an equally good lead on the right. Donners, Burkhardt comes across and closes her down. Just over 17 minutes to play in the first half. The World Cup final between Argentina and the Netherlands, and Argentina lead by 1-0. Neto challenging Skeepstra. The Netherlands maintain control of the ball. Argentina will be very conscious about not conceding penalty corners. something that the Dutch have been very good at converting, particularly with Argate Boomgaard out there. She has a powerful drag flick. She scored 4 goals from corners so far in this tournament.
Good to see Scottman up there with a low tackle.
Van der Vaart trying to make the cross, but Gonzalez Oliver right on her stick again. Whoops, her pass was intercepted. It'll be a free hit though to Argentina. Mercedes Margalot just passing the ball back to Isega. Now Rognoni. She takes Van Geenhausen on. Smarbers knocks her pass down. Hernandez. Aymar back through traffic. There's a little bit of space on the left now for Argentina. Ball swept forward by Dureski. Here's Garcia. She slipped back on when I wasn't watching.
If I was the Netherlands team, I wouldn't be unhappy that Rognoni's running early in a crowded area through the circle, but they need to put a tackle on her, make the steal, and then go at the circle.
Another free hit to Argentina. This is Aymar. Here comes the cross. It wasn't a good cross. It never threatened the goal.
Aymar finds some space here, but she needed to hit. She mishit it. She needed to hit it on the other side, giving her players more chance for a deflection.
Moray de Milo with support from Boomgaard. So often she goes over the top with the pass, Boomgaard. Rognoni, number 16, would be one of the contenders for player of the tournament, as would Garcia. But the pass to Garcia this time was over the line. Dutch captain Donners would be another one that the selectors are looking at, I'm sure. Wouldn't they, Jim?
Yeah, that's for sure. There's quite a few players. Donners, Garcia, Rognoni. Even Iwo from Japan, of course, has been a very good player here, and also a rondo.
Hernandez has the ball on the sideline for Argentina. Rognoni will make the cross. It's a good ball, cleanly hit. But Skeepstra was there. Boy can't get it past Hernandez. Aymar. She was the player with the skill to extract the ball out of that situation. Free hit to Argentina. Aymar again. Rognoni's alongside her. The cross going in. That's dangerous. Here's an opportunity for Argentina and a great save made by Sinigar, the keeper.
Gonzalez there. Finds some space in the circle with a shot on goal. Sinigar, great save. That was most certainly going in.
Vorkart runs the ball forward for Argentina again. It's knocked across the line by Skeepstra. So the Dutch defence absorbing some pressure at the moment. Aymar again. She's been dispossessed by Donners, the Dutch captain. Clearance intercepted by Isega. Back it comes to Margalot. Rognoni. Van Geenhausen is up on her. Whoops, she may have overdone it. It's a free hit to the Netherlands. Well played by Van Geenhausen. The clearance wasn't good. Hernandez got a stick on the ball. The umpire not happy. She's going to let the Dutch take it again.
Aymar hits it in. Gonzalez has the shot here, and it's a great save by Sinigar. Already we've seen a rondo, the goal scorer Gonzalez having a shot on goal. Perhaps that's what's needed. There'll be so much pressure put on players like Aymar, like Garcia, like Aneto.
Free hit to Argentina. Rognoni. Ball cut out by Moray de Milo. This is Boy. She goes further out to Van der Vaart. Gonzalez Oliver running with her, but she wasn't quick enough. Another good save made by Isega. There's more to this Argentinian defence than Rognoni. A couple of players back there like Isega and Bargalot and the keeper Antoniska, who lend very good support.
Magdalena Isega, she has been with this Argentinian team for many, many years. She's a solid defender. She plays a very simple game, not as sort of outlandish as Rognoni, and she always gives a great account of herself for Argentina.
Now, Smarbers was dispossessed, but Hernandez got a stick hooked up with Smarbers.
Smarbers earning a free hit there for the Netherlands.
This is Patry for the Netherlands. Smarbers is there also, but she's been dispossessed again by Isega. Stepnik. Hernandez directing her back to Margalot. Passed now to the opposite side of the field to Isega. It was bouncing, difficult to trap. Van der Vaart brings the ball into Smarbers. Argentina 1, the Netherlands 0 in the final of the 2002 World Cup. Argentina scoring in the first 5 minutes of the game. Here's Patry colliding with Isega. Patry with the cross. More de Milo near the top of the circle. Hernandez was in there. Play on is the call as it's flicked out to Aymar. She's got to play her loose on the right if she chooses to use her. In fact, goes back the other way. Garcia's running with her on the left. Good tackle by Boyd. Important tackle. Isega gets it back for Argentina. We're inside the last 10 minutes of the first half.
We know how good Aymar is, but too many players to beat on that occasion. Someone needed to get a little bit close to her, but it was a great tackle by Boyd.
And here goes Aymar again. She's a terrific playmaker. Garcia, Skeepstra with her. Garcia's still got control of it. Danger here for the Netherlands. She's barging the ball towards the goal mouth, and it's a penalty corner to Argentina.
It looked like the Netherlands had done their homework on Garcia. She did have an opportunity to hit on the flat side. She turns here. She tries to get back on her reverse, but in the end, great control over the ball, earns a penalty corner for the Argentinian team.
Now let's look at their options. Rognoni will be one of them. There's no doubt about that. She takes the drag flick, and it's well saved by Clorinda Sinagar. It's a long corner to Argentina. They lead by 1-0. 8 minutes and 45 seconds remaining in the first half. Here you see Cecilia Rognoni. Ball into the circle and deflected back towards the goal, but it didn't really threaten.
Rognoni takes this. I think it actually was a shot on goal. Often when you see that, it's looking for someone to come in for a deflection. I think they're probably not expecting Rognoni to drag flick low. On that occasion, Siniga had to make a save, and she did it well.
Margalot makes the interception. Verbakel challenging her from behind. This will be a free hit to the Netherlands at the top of the circle. The Argentinian captain just losing control of the ball there. Karina Marsota, number 11. Margalot gets it back. It must have been touched over by a Dutch player. The ball has come off Van Gainhousen's foot, so this will be another free hit.
Argentinian's captain, Mazota, she is one player that was there back in 1994 when Argentina lost the final to Australia. So this will mean a lot to her.
Yes, Argentina have been runners-up in this competition 3 times. They've never won it. The Netherlands, their opponents today, have won it more times than any other country. They've won the World Cup 5 times. This is Isega working now with Rognoni at the back. They get the ball out to wider still. Vorkart, long drive to Marsota at the top of the circle. Another free hit to the Netherlands.
Mazota finding herself free in the circle. She still has a lot of speed, but unable to trap it.
This is Margalot making the cross. She lifted that into Van Gainhousen. Boomgaard steps aside. Scottman over the top. Vorkart makes the trap.
We see the first overhead of the match thrown. Scottman, she can throw it 40 or so metres, which is an extremely long distance, but Argentina did the right thing. They got underneath it, trapping it on the full, not allowing it to bounce, and the Netherlands players to run onto it.
The Netherlands have had 53% of the play so far to Argentina's 47%. Argentina, with the most telling statistic, they've got a goal. It's part of the colourful crowd. Argentina well represented, as are the Netherlands. Got just over 5 minutes to play now before half-time. The tempo of the game has changed. It's not being played at the lively pace that it was earlier, Jen.
Yeah,
Well, here's an opportunity as Von Kessel gets the ball forward. But Margalot is back there again, just tracking the ball across the back line. She finds Gonzalez Oliver. She seemed to put the ball onto an opponent's foot. Another opportunity here as Koeman charges towards the circle, but Margalot is there again. And they are able to clear it out to the right. Aymar with a good ball this time to Marsota, her captain. Garcia running through the middle of the field. Stepnik goes down too. Marsota taking the ball deep into the right-hand corner. Here's the cross, and Skeepstra got a stick on it. Stepnik can bring it back. Good ball in there to Ferrari, who's on the ground.
Ferrari will be happy with that. She literally just walked on the field, in with the goal shot. Mazzota, great ball across the circle. Skeepstra just gets in the way, fed back in, very neat little pass, but enough pressure put on by Netherlands to thwart the shot.
And now the Netherlands with an opportunity of their own. Smarvers gets around Rognoni. She's got Vorkart to contend with. Long corner to the Netherlands.
Argentina need to be careful here. We've seen quite a few tackles with players laying on the ground. We've seen Rognoni do it.
Argentina lead by 1-0. Just over 4 minutes remaining in the first half. 2002 World Cup final, there's Mark Lammers, the Dutch coach, in his soiled t-shirt. Something of a good luck omen for Lammers. Shirt that was worn on a trek through Malaysia. At the end of the trek, his team hugged him and planted their fingerprints all over it. Hasn't been washed since. Now this is a free hit to the Netherlands to be taken just outside the circle. And it's a very congested circle. Dutch foot in there. And it will be a free hit to Argentina. Sergio Vigil, the Argentinian coach. Margalot clearing the ball back into the midfield. Stepnik couldn't control it. Vorkart might be able to tidy up. She saved the ball from going across the line. Gets it back to Gonzalez Oliver. Long ball was well read by Boomgaard. Back it comes to More de Milo. Scottman at the back. Trouble finding a way forward, the Netherlands. It's More de Milo again. She's surrounded by opponents, but gets the free hit this time. Argentina have had the ball in their circle, or they've had 4 positive circle penetrations. The Netherlands have only had 1. Most unusual given the skill of their midfielders. Smarvers out to the right to Skeepstra. Finishes up with Boy. Boomgaard not able to control it, but it falls to Von Kessel. An opportunity here. The ball running free and allowed to run into the goal. A couple of the Dutch players throwing their hands up, more in hope than anything else, I think. Perhaps hoping that it had been touched.
Boomgaard actually led forward here, creating another option in between the defensive lines of Argentina. Netherlands got through. Antoniska obviously knew what she was doing to let it go over the back line. No player inside the circle from the Netherlands got a touch on it.
free hit to the Netherlands with 1.5 minutes remaining in the first half. More de Milo. Gonzalez Oliver just pokes the ball across the line. And Donner's on the sideline for the Netherlands. Smarbers has got control of the ball. Good challenge there by Rognoni, and she sends Aymar away. That was very well done. She's holding the cheek at the moment, Rognoni, in a little bit of pain. She's inflicted a bit over the years. Here's Doreski. She gets the ball into the corner, and Aymar with the cross. And it was deflected, but over the back line by Rondo.
Aymar, a wasted opportunity, really. Less than a minute to go. Putting it on the wrong side of the goal.
Margalot gets a stick on the ball, knocks it out of play. There's still time for the Netherlands. 33 seconds left in the half. Donners would be aware of that. She moved it on quickly. Ferrari at close quarters to Doreski. She was bumped off the ball by Donners. Now got 20 seconds left. The ball deflects from Doreski into Margalot. Donners up quickly. Sense of urgency here from the Netherlands. Perhaps too much. She mistimed the pass. Now here's another opportunity. Von Gainhausen has possession just inside the attacking quarter. 6 seconds left. There's the cross. The ball lifts high. It'll be a long corner, and that will save Argentina. There's the buzzer for half-time in the 2002 World Cup final. And at half-time, Argentina lead the Netherlands 1-0. The goal was scored in the first 5 minutes of the game by Enes Arrondo.
Well, the Netherlands may be making the mistake of starting their match against Argentina as Australia did, a little nervously, and Rick Charlesworth, Argentina punishing in the first few minutes.
Yeah, terrific start. Ines Arrondo, who's been a defender all her life, 4 months she's played as a forward, and she scores a goal in the World Cup final. That's a terrific result for her.
And then for the rest of that half, Netherlands had more than their share of possession, but the Argentinian defence absolutely rock solid as always.
Yeah, what Netherlands have come up against here is a team with a defence as good as theirs. And the interesting thing about it is that if you look at the stats coming into this game, 147 shots to 81. The Argentina team had been much more offensive than Netherlands. Netherlands' defence had done as well, 40 shots each against, but really the Argentinian team has got real offensive capacity.
Let's have a look at some highlights from the first half, and they didn't have to wait too long to get to the first one.
There it is. Aymar slips it, Arrondo, and she'll remember that all her life. She can't believe it. That's a terrific start for her. And here's Rognoni running through the middle of the field. As suggested earlier on, she's dangerous. Skeepstra knocks it up in the air, and well done by Seneca to clear. Aymar in the middle of all of the attacks. That centred not quite on the money, but this one's not bad. And Gonzalez's shot is saved. Terrific save again by Seneca. Aymar. Here's Garcia. And she's very good in the circle. Clever stick work. Wins the corner. Of course, the only corner of the half to Argentina. Shot there by Rognoni is saved. And one chance for the Netherlands. And really, Antoniska just let it go. No one touched it in the circle.
She took a little bit of a risk, but and just briefly, Rick, what do you think Netherlands have to do differently in the second half?
Well, they really have to try and penetrate. Their game is based on getting penalty corners, and they haven't got any penalty corners yet. And unless they can do that, they're not going to score.
Well, visiting Perth for the first time in his capacity as IOC president is Dr. Jacques Rogge, who later this afternoon will present the gold medals and the World Cup. Hockey is fortunately not one of the sports under pressure to hold its place at the Olympics, but several are under scrutiny. Dr. Rogge was kind enough to give us some of his time yesterday afternoon.
Mr. President, thank you for your time, first of all. You have a connection with hockey through your family?
Yes, my father was a hockey player, my uncle too, and I started playing hockey for 4 years until I realized that I had no talent, and I switched to sailing, which brought me to the Olympic Games.
Can you give us an idea, with team sports, the way the IOC is moving, the schedule of decision-making for sports like softball, pentathlon, that have some concerns about their future?
Well, I understand the concerns, I understand the emotion, but the IOC has a responsibility to make sure that the program is a very good one and it attracts the world audience. There are also 16 sports waiting outside of the program to enter the Olympic program. And it's about a matter of justice to see if the sports outside are not more popular than the sports inside. Having said that, the 3 sports that were challenged, baseball, softball and modern pentathlon, have made extraordinary efforts to improve the quality of their game and the format of their competition. And the IOC General Assembly then thought that it was about fair to give them the chance to prove that what they want to change will also yield results.
So they are in for Athens. Beijing remains a question mark?
We'll see after Athens how they fared. And I think we want to let them the opportunity to prove that the changes they propose themselves will be beneficial ones.
The readiness of Athens for the next games, what concerns do you still have there?
We have no concerns. We have a sense of urgency. The Greeks had a difficult start, and there were delays at the start, but they have addressed that, they've catched up, and if they continue at the same rhythm and pace as today, we'll have excellent games.
Have they had to renew or up their commitment to security in light of recent events?
Contrary to what people might think, 11 September has not awakened the IOC for the need for security. We've had our lesson in Munich in '72, and a very painful one. So since Munich, security has been the #1 issue for the IOC. And 11 September has only reinforced that, but it was not a revelation for us.
And finally, Mr. President, the Beijing Olympics, we understand there's been some consideration, or at least a request from Beijing, that maybe the timing needs to move a little bit to accommodate their hot climate. Is that being taken on board or considered?
We are considering that. Beijing made a bid on the basis of the original dates. They are now coming back to us by saying that they would consider postponing the games for a couple of weeks to have better climatic conditions. It's not an easy question because it touches the international program of the international federations, and we'll see what is possible. But of course, the decision that will be taken will be in the best interest of the athletes.
It's lovely to have you in Perth. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
And the timing of Beijing, very important for sports like hockey and the marathons. Well, behind the scenes at the World Cup, there's a revolution underway that may change the face of international hockey. For the first time, a third umpire is being trialled, and if successful, it could be in use at elite level early next year.
Love them or hate them, it's impossible without them. These whistle-blowing, hand-waving, rule-enforcing guardians of the game. Usually they patrol in pairs, but at this year's World Cup, a third party has been keeping tabs on the umpires in action. You've heard of the third umpire in cricket. Well, meet hockey's version. The same system with the same aim: to adjudicate on close decisions and clear up any controversy.
I'm not sure what player it was, but for England, they were laying on the ground. The ball probably, I'd say, would have gone in the net. You can't lay on the ground. Should have been a penalty stroke.
The video umpire has been trialled behind the scenes at this international event. And while it's had no official bearing on any of the games, its potential to improve the accuracy and standard of umpiring is obvious.
Already we've had 7 times where we could have used it, and 3 of those 7 we would have changed the decision. One of them actually was a critical one that really changed the tournament, and that changed whether a team would have won the match or just drawn the match.
In addition to acting as a third eye, the video has also been used to collect individual stats on the umpires. So slick is the software that they're able to access their own website straight after each match and review snippets of their individual performances.
They come down, they read what we've actually said about the passage of play, and then they actually read it, and then they have a look at it. If they've made an error, we want them to see it, and then hopefully next time they don't repeat it.
With the rate of umpiring errors fluctuating between 3% and 50% on occasion during the tournament, Don Pryor claims this high-tech approach to the game is cutting-edge technology that shouldn't be ignored.
A couple of lifted balls you could have actually let go in through the circle. They just went straight over the back line.
If this video trial is given the thumbs up, the next step is to test the use of earpieces for direct communication between the third umpire and those on the field. If successful, umpiring the game of hockey could soon change forever.
Hockey's one of the quickest games in the world of sport. Rick Charlesworth, anything they can do to help the umpires has got to be worth looking at.
Yeah, just on the important adjudications around the circle, that's where we need the help.
And how soon would you like to see it in? Early as next year?
Oh yeah, I think straight away, if we can introduce something that'll help the umpires in those important decisions, the difficult ones around the circle, that'll make a difference.
Well, let's return now to the second half of the World Cup final between Argentina and the Netherlands, and it's Argentina leading 1-0.
We're just about to start the second half, the World Cup final between Argentina and the Netherlands. Argentina lead by 1-0. There's Cecilia Rognoni just doing some stretching exercises. The Netherlands will start with possession in the second half. Their captain, Mange Donners, is over the ball. I'll play to the right of your screen. And they've got some work to do here. Garcia is out on the field to start the second half for Argentina. The use of Garcia and Aneto, their two key strikers, has been an interesting talking point at half-time. And now Boomgaard sweeps the ball out to the left and sends Von Gainhausen away. The Netherlands quickly into attack. They are down by a goal at half-time. And it's going to be a free hit to Argentina.
Unbelievable. It was very good control over the ball there by Von Gainhausen. She ran in. Lots of Argentinian players there, but unfortunately for her, Argentina end up with the ball.
This is Vorkart out on the left. Moray de Milo was the player who approached her. Dutch ball from the side, Skeepstra. Van der Vaart getting the ball back to Moray de Milo. Rognoni comes across. Timely touch. The Dutch have a long corner. Donners. Donners again. The ball deflects out, but not far. Boomgaard gets it out wide. Smarvers tries to sweep it back in. This is Van der Vaart. Be a free hit to the Netherlands, about 5 metres outside the circle. Donners takes it quickly. Van der Vaart had a back turn. It was heading in her direction.
Not quite sure who Donners was looking here for. Good idea to take the hit quickly, but Van der Vaart not ready at all, and unfortunately for the Netherlands, a race ball, free hit to Argentina.
Rognoni brings the ball out to Vorkart. They go back into the circle and Isega. And now to Margalot out on the right. It's moving the Dutch forwards around a little bit, but they've lost control of the ball.
Netherlands have started off well. They've had lots of pressure on the midfield players of Argentina as they receive the ball.
Van Gainhausen with that run forward. And it's going to be a free hit. No, it's not. It's going to be a long corner. So the Netherlands with early possession here. Vorkart did well. She kept it in. No one wanted to run at her, so she decided she'd run the ball out of defence herself. And she's got good support over on the left. It's Arondo, now Stepnik, Gonzalez Oliver, across to Margalot. This is the first time that Argentina have had the ball forward in this second half. Stepnik. Moray de Milo coming up to challenge Vorkart. Stepnik again, back to Rognoni. Isega. Garcia is lurking in the circle, but nowhere near that ball. The Dutch players looking on. Aymar comes back onto the field. Ferrari has gone off. Moray de Milo did well to get back there, and she's actually kept it in play. That was well done. They might make something out of this, but it's going to be a free hit to Argentina. The ball lifting into the circle in a potentially dangerous manner.
We saw Scotland there. What a crucial role she can play with those overheads. Rognoni really wasn't aware that Moray de Mello was in behind her. Unfortunately, a raised ball, but good play by the Netherlands.
Gonzalez Oliver gets around Donners. Rognoni at the back. Long ball down in the direction of Garcia. It's just knocked away. It's a free hit to Argentina. Aymar. Gonzalez Oliver. It missed her, but Arondo was there. Now that's a good ball, but Sota wasn't able to pick it up.
Slapped into the circle. Mazzota was looking for a different ball. She led out wide.
Argentina with the ball from the side. We've been playing nearly 5 minutes in the second half. No change to the half-time score. Argentina lead 1-0. Not a lot happening for either team at this stage. There's lots of time left, of course, but you wouldn't want to see Argentina change their game plan, I wouldn't think, Jim.
Now they're playing a little bit more defensively. They're being very certain with their passes across the back, but then lacking real definition in leads and then their passes to those leads. They don't want to let this lead slip. 1-0 is often not enough in a gold medal game.
Van Geenhausen gets the ball out to Moray de Milo. Back it goes to Van Geenhausen. Opportunity here for the Netherlands. They're looking for the corner. There goes a shot on goal, and it's knocked down by Antoniska. It'll be a long corner to the Netherlands. Verbakel going across to take it. Moray de Milo. This is a free hit to Argentina.
Argentina need to keep doing what they were doing in the first half. And by that, I mean they need to keep putting pressure on the Netherlands' defence and still attacking. They need to play the attacking style of game. That's what they're good at. They've got class players to follow through with it. If they play defensively, the Netherlands could get back into this match.
Yes, well, Aymar looked dangerous in the early part of the game, and Garcia was up there. They had a Neto on. It was Arondo who scored the goal, but they don't seem to be as decisive at the moment, as creative. Verbakel gets the free hit for the Netherlands. Wingard sliding the ball across the back to Scotland. Boy to Smarbers. Scotland. She misses with what I think was an attempted overhead, but it works out okay. This is Moray de Milo. She was confronted by Voorkaart. Van der Vaart moved it on quickly to Skeepstra. Another free hit to the Netherlands. Masota goes off and a Neto goes on for Argentina. Skeepstra back to Scotland. The Argentinian crowd coming to life. Their defence is under pressure here as the ball is knocked across to the circle, but it's cut out easily by Argentina. And here goes Aymar. This is where she's dangerous. She's got room, running hard at the defence. And Neto is in the circle. There's the shot. Verbakel was taken on the foot. It's a penalty corner to Argentina.
We saw at the other end of the field, Boomgart was actually leading up high. She plays left half for the Netherlands. The ball got to her, but then an intercept was made. Aymar runs the length of the field. She goes in for a goal shot. That's where she's dangerous, and that's what the Netherlands need to look out for. She's a very, very good player, Aymar. and it produces the second penalty corner for Argentina.
Well, this corner has come against the run of the game. The shot by Isega was disallowed because the ball was still rolling. So something of an anticlimax.
Yeah, the trap not made here. Netherlands get out well enough, but certainly the ruling was for the ball not trapped before the initial shot on goal.
Neto sliding across the turf, gets it out of play. Van der Vaart brings it back in. Scottman, up and over she goes. Boy, De Bruyne's on the field. She wasn't able to make the trap. Could almost have been a foot in there against the Netherlands, but let's play on. Van der Vaart works the ball forward to De Bruyne. She did well, but just couldn't quite keep it in. It actually she needed to pull it back further in front of goal.
The Netherlands need to make more of that. They got in behind the defence of Argentina then, but Argentina did not even have to make a defensive trap inside the circle.
It was well played by Van Geenhausen to get possession out there. Smarvers feeds it back to Verbakel. With her is Aymar. Free hit to the Netherlands. A quick cross. Long corner. Van Geenhausen dispossessed. Chance for Argentina as they bring the ball out of defence again. This is Rondo. She was the goal scorer. It'll be a free hit to Argentina. Margalot. Nose broken earlier in the tournament. And that was good, strong defence out there. An opportunity now for Patry. It was intended for De Bruyne. It'll be a free hit to the Netherlands. They're trying to take it quickly. Ball struck towards the circle. Came off the stick. Stepnik. She gets around Van der Vaart, but she wasn't able to negotiate Verbakel. Smarvers again, back towards Patry. Danger here, but Rognoni gets back to lend out. So we'll lend some support. Patry gets it back. That will be a Dutch ball from the side.
If there's ever a criticism of Rognoni, we know that she's a great player. She's often quite casual. On that occasion, giving the ball up a little too easily.
Van Geenhausen towards the circle. Long corner. Margalot made the interception. Verbakel, the ball back inside the circle. The umpire's letting it go. It's a penalty corner to the Netherlands. Patry dropping a stick and wringing a hand.
Patry's a very strong player. They get the ball in. It was a handy trap. The question was it actually over her shoulder as she made the trap? The umpire ruled it to be okay.
Now this is the Netherlands' first penalty corner in the game. Boongaard is up there, number 11. Just see which option they use. Oh, the trap has been missed. Smarvers goes back and retrieves the ball. De Bruyne, it's knocked away from her by Vorkaart. So that opportunity has gone begging as far as the Netherlands are concerned. The cross going in from Boy. Patry not able to pull it in.
Penalty corners are critical in games like these. It seemed to come out okay flat. Mickey Smarvers normally traps well, but was unable to get the ball dead.
Argentina 1, the Netherlands 0. We've been playing for nearly 13 minutes in the second half. And the goal came in the first 5 minutes of the game. So from the point of view of goals, it's been a fairly barren game so far. Isega switches it back to Rognoni. This is Vorkaart. Down the line she goes to Gonzalez Oliver. She wasn't able to get around Van der Vaart.
We saw Aymar with the ball before, and there was almost 4 Netherlands players surrounding her. What Aymar also has in her game is, apart from brilliant skills and able to eliminate people, she draws defenders to her, and she's also able to throw very, very good passes. So if the Netherlands have 4 or so players around her, it means that there are players free in behind.
Neto bringing the ball into Margalot. Argentina building deep on the right side. A good tackle back there, and they'll get out of trouble, the Netherlands. Smarvers getting the ball into the circle. It's knocked on by Boy. This is Van der Vaart carrying the ball up towards the half-time. Gonzalez Oliver emerges with the ball. Van der Vaart's not happy. Aymar. Neto wants it out wide. She'll get the free hit. Aymar to Doreski. Dispossessed by Skeepstra. Well played. She's had a very good tournament, Skeepstra. But now the umpire is going to get involved here. She wants to speak to one of the Argentinians. It's Doreski.
Bit of a ordinary slack tackle by Doreski, and Julie Ashton Lucy just making it clear that they want this game to be a clean match and no rough tackles.
She gets a green card, so just a warning. She doesn't have to leave the field. Argentina 1, the Netherlands 0. Nearly 15 minutes played in the second half. Just over 20 minutes remaining in the final of the 2002 World Cup. This is Rognoni in the middle of the defence. Voorkant. Van der Vaart made the steal for the Netherlands and got it to Smarvers. The ball back in the direction of More de Milo, but it was too wide. So this will be a free hit to Argentina from the side. Gonzalez Oliver, that was dangerous. A look-away pass. Fortunately, Aymar was there. She's got 3 opponents to contend with here, and she just feeds it through feet to Neto, who tapped it on in the direction of Gonzalez Oliver, but they lost it on the 3rd pass. But Neto wins it back, and again she goes through an opponent's legs. Neto swinging on the ball.
We know that Neto is very, very good with her close-in skills. Her hand is no doubt troubling her, but she's still able to keep hold of the ball and cause real problems for the Netherlands.
Neto broke her hand in the first game of the tournament and didn't play again until the semi-final. And now the Argentinian coach, Sergio Vigil, is trying to manage his 2-star strikers, Garcia, who is the leading goal scorer in the tournament, and this player, Vanina Neto, who is one of the stars of the team. And at the moment, it's Neto who is getting preference over Garcia. Garcia's not on the field. And that was a poor clearance by Stepnik. Smarvers gets the pass across to a teammate, but then Voorkant read that pass beautifully. It was Donners who sent the pass forward. Van der Vaart makes a very good steal and sends More de Milo away. She's got 5 defenders to contend with. Aymar comes in. More de Milo back in the direction of Van der Vaart, who taps it back behind her. The steal made by Donners. They're applying good pressure here, the Netherlands. But it's Voorkant who wins out. Sends the ball in the direction of Neto. She bounces the ball away from an opponent. It's taken by De Bruyne. Now Van Geenhausen. This is Van der Vaart. Along the line to Donners. The cross going in. Gonzalez Oliver just turning it back, was struck on the back of the foot. So it'll be a free hit to the Netherlands. They're enjoying a good passage of play here. Let's see if they can make something out of it. Garcia's come back on. There's the ball in towards the near post. And the player she was looking for was Van Geenhausen. It's going to be a long corner. Donners to Van der Vaart. Here's Garcia, number 2. Free hit. to the Netherlands. 5 metres outside the circle. Boomgaard and Skeepstra are both there. Forwards positioning themselves. Oh, it was badly taken by Boomgaard. It was intended for Skeepstra, but she put it too far out in front of her.
Donners always makes a good pass, and Rognoni just getting a stick on it in time.
Rognoni, who's quite prepared to hold the ball at the back. It's a little dangerous sometimes, but they should get out of trouble here. Good ball to Doreski. And she sweeps it up in the direction of Garcia. There looked like a foot in there.
I'm wondering how Garcia feels about this. I know she's often played second fiddle to Aneto throughout other tournaments. She is younger than Aneto. But psychologically, I wonder if it's affected her that she feels a little bit ripped off, I guess we could say, that she wasn't playing more. Almost been used by Sergio Vigil as an impact player, but I would have her out there more often.
It's almost as though there's a pecking order, and form is not necessarily the #1 criterion. The Netherlands try and move the ball forward again. Smarvers has it. This is Scotland. Van der Vaart is loose on the right. Moray de Milo trying to make space further ahead of her. Free hit to Argentina. Just over 16 minutes remaining in the gold medal game between Argentina and the Netherlands. It hasn't been a great spectacle, it has to be said, to this point, but when the World Cup is at stake, the teams are entitled to play for a win. Argentina have one hand on the cup at the moment. They lead 1-0. Gonzalez Oliver. Ball towards Doreski. Boomgaard will get back to it first.
Solid play by Boomgaard. She was in great initial position, made a good tackle, and then made a safe possession pass.
This is Van der Vaart. Moray de Milo, Skeepstra. Scotland, you can see the bandage on her right cheek. She struck a very nasty blow late in the semi-final. Taken to hospital. She spent the night in hospital, as I understand it. But she's been able to come out and take a place in this lineup for the final today. Donna's a little undecided. Back to Van Geenhausen. It's knocked over the line by Voorkaart. Free hit to the Netherlands. Donna's again. In goes the cross. It's tapped across to Von Kessel. The ball lifted off the kick safely. Not dangerously. Garcia has the ball on the left. She's left it behind. It'll be a free hit to the Netherlands.
Shot in, the ball kicked up by Antoniska, but ruled safe by the umpire.
The Netherlands completed their pool program with 6 wins and a draw. Argentina undefeated in Pool A, the only team not to drop a single point during the tournament. They won their 7 matches. Argentina then made it through to the final by defeating Australia 1-0 in the semi-final. The Netherlands defeated China by the same scoreline. Voorkaart gets the ball inside the attacking quarter now for Argentina. There was no one inside the circle, and that is in marked contrast to what we saw from Argentina earlier in the game. And they had forwards up high and looked very dangerous and threatening. And Aymar was the player who just lost it then. She was the player that was being so creative. And now there's a problem here, I suspect, for Argentina. Rognoni is the player who's being spoken to. Again, it's a green warning.
Rognoni, she did make the initial tackle, but there was no way she was going to let that player run past her, even if the ball did. definitely deserving a green card there. I think she had a heart in the mouth for a while, hoping that the umpire didn't pull out a yellow card.
She's a very rugged player, Rognoni. And here's a good steal by Hernandez for Argentina. There's no one up with her. And the Dutch defenders knocked the ball out over the sideline. That gives the Netherlands time to regroup. It also gives Argentina time to get some forwards up there. Garcia is in the circle now. Here's Rognoni again. Ball down in the direction of Stepnik and Garcia. 12.5 minutes to play in the World Cup final. Argentina lead the Netherlands 1-0. Ball knocked away from Stepnik. She got it back. From Skeepstra, I'm sorry. She got it back.
Interesting, Wally. Argentina have not had a shot on goal in this second half after having 3 in the first half. And Netherlands have had 2.
Well, they want to be careful, Argentina. If the Netherlands were to score, I must admit they don't look like doing that at the moment, but if they were, they might not be able to get out of the gear that they're in. Just might not be able to pick up the momentum that they had earlier. At the moment, they are really just cruising and protecting this lead, not being anywhere near as creative as they were earlier. Here's a chance for Garcia, perhaps. Just outside the circle, she's got around one defender, trying to get something out in front of goal, but there was no one there to assist her anyway. And the Netherlands bring the ball out relatively easily. Donners and Voorkaart, free hit to the Netherlands.
First time we've really seen Garcia in this half with a little bit of space. She tries to make a pass, couldn't get a shot on goal. Turnover, Netherlands with the ball.
De Bruyne pushing the ball forward. Chance for Von Kessel. She'll take the free hit. Donners, it's tapped away from her. They'll take the hit again. Von Kessel finds Koeman. She's inside the circle. Penalty corner.
Definitely a penalty corner. It looks like Rognoni is injured here, but we spoke about it in the first half. Often players were going to ground as they were tackling. Yeah, definitely a penalty corner for mine. We see Koeman, she stands her ground. She's just running with the ball in front of her. Rognoni sets herself. Koeman goes over the top of her. I know Rognoni, we don't like to see anyone hurt, but it's absolutely a penalty corner caused by her tackle.
Well, we've got just under 11 minutes to play. The Netherlands with a penalty corner, and we know that they're very dangerous in this situation with this play. Donners is up there. And Donners drags the ball towards goal, but deflected across the face. Argentina survived a mini crisis there. This will be another free hit to the Netherlands. The Argentinian supporters must have their hearts in their mouths at the moment. That ball lifted, and it has struck Voorkaart on the right knee. So there'll be another delay now. It'll also be a free hit to Argentina from the top of the circle as Claudia Voorkaart is helped back to her feet.
Donners flings the ball in. They were really looking for a deflection. I think it was... And then the long corner comes in. Yeah, a few missed chances there by the Netherlands, and then Donner raises the ball. Dangerous, wasted opportunity.
Struck very powerfully too. Oh, Rognoni almost had the ball knocked away. In fact, it's going to be a free hit to the Netherlands. Von Kessel took it quickly. This is Donners working the ball back towards the circle. Rognoni sliding across the turf. Knocks the ball away. It'll be a long corner.
Desperate play, but I will also say it was risky play by Rognoni with that tackle.
Von Kessel. She gets it back. Skeepstra. Good ball, almost found Koeman. Free hit to Argentina. Taken quickly by Rognoni. The through ball, but it went too far. Masota wasn't able to get back to it. And now it's gone over the side. Ball into the top of the circle. It was lifted, so it'll be a free hit to Argentina. Neto is back on the field. Garcia is off, I presume.
Perhaps she was out late last night or something that we don't know about, Wally. She hasn't seemed to have played that much today.
Netherlands with 7 circle penetrations to Argentina's 6. Possession is 54% in favour of the Netherlands. They've both had 3 shots on goal. They both had 2 penalty corners. The only real difference between the two teams at the moment is the goal that Argentina scored. Skeepstra, and they scored that in the first 5 minutes of the game. Neto intercepting the pass, but Skeepstra is able to retrieve it. Burkhardt, Aymar, Marsota, the Argentinian captain. Neto was loose on the left, but she didn't see her. A lot of Dutch defenders in front of her. And it's Patry who gets control of the ball, but then loses it.
Oh,
Was lucky.
you do not want to lose the ball to Aymar in that situation, and Netherlands very lucky to get a favourable umpiring decision from Julie Ashton-Lucy.
There you see Claudia Burkhardt having receiving some attention to her knee as the ball is swept away by Boy across the sideline, but it was touched off an Argentinian stick. So the Netherlands get the ball back. Scottman going over the top. Donna's leaping up. It's going to be a free hit to Argentina.
The rule is there, the first person to receive to get underneath the ball, the other team has to be 5 metres. Donna's was ruling then that she was indeed the person first there to receive the ball, but a very, very long distance gain by Scottman on that overhead.
Boy. Oh, there's trouble, and Neto's made the interception. Opportunity here for Argentina, and Neto can't get the shot in, and the ball's knocked out of the circle. Oh, gee, that was almost a critical error made back there by Boy, trying to pass the ball out of the circle.
Yeah, Boy, unbelievably bad mistake there. And Neto, she's trying to get a shot on goal. I'm not sure if she just swung and missed that, or if it did indeed clip the stick from the defender. There was a real chance there for the Argentinian team.
And now Gonzalez Oliver runs the ball forward for Argentina, and Neto out on the left. The cross has struck Scottman, and that was a very solid blow too.
I think, Neto, you have to feel sorry for her with her broken hand.
Well,
she raised the ball there, but there's no doubt that she was lacking a little bit of control and perhaps cannot hit the ball as well because of her broken hand. And that's indeed lucky for the Netherlands and lucky for Boy.
and I'm just wondering if there wouldn't be some members of the Argentinian contingent asking whether or not Garcia might not have been able to have made a better fist of that situation. Then again, Garcia might not have been there, I guess, to have made the interception in the first place. But there's no change to the score. It's 1-0 in the final of the World Cup. Argentina lead the Netherlands, so time is now becoming a problem for the Netherlands. We've got just over 5 minutes to play. They've had more than their share of the ball. More de Milo is dispossessed by Stepnik, who appeared to be tripped, but they've been paid the advantage. A long ball intended for Marsoto, but it wasn't well directed. Nor was that back to Sparbus. Oh, they all missed it. Perhaps players getting a little bit tired. It was a good opportunity there for Argentina.
It's almost like Aymar could not believe her luck that the Netherlands player missed it, and then she wasn't ready herself.
Rognoni along the sideline, cleverly done, brilliant pass. Garcia in space, Aymar is with her. She's got Rognoni on the left. It goes towards Rognoni. This is dangerous. The shot has been saved by Sinagar, and now it's forced out over the back line, and it will be a free hit to the Netherlands.
That is the player we've talked about, Rognoni. That's what she does. She created something out of nothing. She ran along the sideline. She did a 1-2. It was her that went in for a shot on goal. That's why she is dangerous, and that's why she was announced FIH Player of the Year.
There was a touch of class on the sideline, that very deft pass. Margalot. Ball extracted from between legs by Gonzalez Oliver, but the free hit had already been awarded. Margalot goes back somewhat dangerously towards Rognoni. Donnas was charging back at her. They've done well here, Argentina. There was a missed trap out there, but they had the extra defence. Now it's going to be a free hit to Argentina back near their defensive quarter line. We're inside the last 5 minutes of the 2002 World Cup final. Argentina 1, the Netherlands 0. The Netherlands need to create something here, and perhaps Argentina will help them do it. They've given the ball away from that free hit.
4 minutes is too long to try and hold on to the ball.
Smarvers combining with Scottman. Back to Boomgaard. Oh, and I think she may have looked up and seen Skeepstra standing on the sideline waiting to come on, thinking that she was a player camped out there, but Skeepstra couldn't do anything about it. So this will be Argentina's ball from the side. Gonzalez Oliver.
There's plenty of time here for the Netherlands to create scoring opportunities, but of course what they don't want is for Argentina to score a goal and go 2-0 up.
Now a 10-metre penalty awarded against Argentina for knocking the ball away. Moray de Milo takes it quickly. This is Van Gaenhausen. Moray de Milo out on the right sideline. Cleverly done. She's got rid of one defender, Margalot, but she's closed down by a second. Still working hard. Good defensive work by the Argentinians. Garcia was about to break away when the whistle went. Another free hit to the Netherlands. Donners has it. She goes back to Van der Vaart. Here's Donners again. She wants to make the cross. The ball tapped away. She retrieved it brilliantly. And this is a penalty corner. 2.5 minutes remaining in the final, and the Netherlands force a penalty corner.
She has been quiet all game. She's been tightly marked. Donna's made something from nothing outside the circle, running in with real strength, drawing the tackle from Mercedes Margalot, and that was definitely a penalty corner.
Mariela Antoniska is the Argentinian goalkeeper. Boomgaard is up there. Moray de Milo will bring it in. Smarvers will make the stop. And it's Boomgaard. It's in the net. Scores a level. The Netherlands bring this game to life. They level the scores with less than 2 minutes to play.
You saw the look on Mercedes Margalot. She was still wondering whether there was in fact a penalty corner. Boomgaard has taken her chance. They know that she can drag flick the ball. Often she goes high. She drag flicks low here into the corner. Antoniska actually made enough ground to make the save, but with real power, low, hard into the corner, often a very hard height to save. And now this makes it interesting.
That's her 5th goal for the tournament. Here goes Garcia. I just wonder if Argentina can stir out of their lethargy. They scored the first goal of the game in the first 5 minutes, and they've been a totally different team since that point, or almost since that point. They've been nowhere near as creative up forward. Almost went back into their shells and seemed, or perhaps thought, they were cruising towards a 1-0 victory in their first, or what would have been their first World Cup victory. They now find themselves locked at 1-1 with less than a minute to play. If scores are level at full time, the game will go into extra time, 2 periods of 7.5 minutes. A golden goal can decide the match.
We've spoken about the semi-final, Argentina playing against Australia, and they were only 1-0 up. They were happy with that. Australia weren't good enough on that particular day to hurt them. The Netherlands have proven that 1-0 is not enough to beat them in a gold medal game. They've come back. Perhaps Argentina have paid the price for playing too defensively in the second half.
Here's Van Gaenhausen. Van der Vaart back near the back line. There is time for the Netherlands. A shot on goal almost. It's a penalty corner to the Netherlands. 12 seconds remaining in the match. They probably won't get time to take this corner before the final buzzer sounds, but the rules allow them to play out the corner. Oh, this will be interesting.
The ball goes from Van der Vaart. Vicky Smarvers gets it. It indeed does come off the stick, and it definitely is a penalty corner, clipping the foot.
Now this corner will be played out until the ball is cleared outside the circle, or until there is an infringement. Another corner can be awarded. Boomgaard is up there again, so is Donners. They've messed up the stop, and the ball is cleared out. And there, no, it's another penalty corner.
Vicky Smarvers saying that it actually hit the foot, and and I think it did. I'm not sure whether it was inside the circle or outside the circle, but I think Schmarbers is right and forcing de Klerk to change her mind. Have a look here, the missed trap. And it does hit the foot, but I'm pretty sure it was outside the circle.
I don't think there's any doubt. So this could be a controversial finish to the 2002 World Cup. The Netherlands with a penalty corner after the final buzzer, but they've missed to the right. And at the end of normal time, the game is locked at 1 goal all. Argentina won, the Netherlands won. Well, there you see the Argentinian captain, Garcia, just leaving the field. And Argentina will be rueing the fact that they find themselves in this position, the Netherlands scoring with just under 2 minutes to play, and then they very nearly scored again with just seconds remaining, and again after full time. At full time, Argentina won, the Netherlands won. This game will go into extra time.
And the Netherlands waiting until the 69th minute, Rick, to do that. Do you fancy them now in extra time?
Well, the whole momentum changes. That they would be enthusiastic. They would be really excited. For Argentina, they were so close, and it's been taken away from them, and so I think that's psychologically a very difficult situation. But the 5 minutes you get to recover, I suspect they'll bounce back, and they still have the potency up front if they can only get some momentum again. So I think it's still in the balance.
It's history now, but I think Argentina were a little unlucky down this end with a decision they did not get a penalty corner, and maybe even deserved a stroke.
With 2 or 3 minutes to go, it certainly looked like it was at least a penalty corner. It would have kept the ball at this end, would have given them another scoring chance, and it might have been enough to kill off any hope for the Netherlands. But we're in for an exciting extra time struggle now, and of course the Netherlands will be aiming for more corners. Argentina a bit more potent in their field play.
It was a real struggle for the Netherlands, wasn't it? They didn't get their first penalty corner until fairly deep into that second half. They didn't look on their game. They didn't look as though they were taking it to Argentina hard enough, adventurous enough out of defence. They've just scrambled that goal in a way that we probably should have expected through a penalty corner eventually.
That's right. And Argentina have won 3 times 1-0. They were happy to hang on to that lead. They were trying to just hold on, and it's sometimes fatal to do so, and of course it's rebounded on them here.
As a coach, you've been in this situation. What are some of the things that coaches might be saying to their charges now?
Well, you really have to let the players play. They're tired, they're emotional. It's a very exciting time, but it's very tense. You want to get the ball in your area, and you want to try and force errors in that area. If you can get the ball into the circle, then you've got a chance of forcing an error, getting the chance to score. But it'll be crowded in there. Everybody will be defending. There'll be some counter-attacks. I suspect there'll only be 1 or 2 chances in all of this extra time.
Let's have a look at some highlights from the second half in this gold medal match. Argentina and the Netherlands, second half.
And there, shot easily saved by Antoniska. Netherlands pressing a couple of times. They hit the ball into the side of the goal. Well cleared there by Antoniska. Corner, and that went close. Little deflection there. A few moments for Argentina at the other end. This one's a great chance here for Oneto, but just didn't quite have the purchase on it to score. And with her injured hand, probably difficult. Garcia slips the ball there, and Rognoni was stick-checked, and that's the one we thought probably should have been a corner. And then the goal for Argentina. Antoniska diving. She's angry with herself. She probably feels like she might have got to that one. Boomgaard, of course, is very good in that situation.
Scottman has played. How do you think she's contributed with that sore face?
She's solid. She's been a solid player throughout the whole tournament, and really doesn't seem to have affected her that much. Certainly she's been brave in a few situations, and given the injury, that's a pretty good effort.
Argentina, as you've noted, have scored a number of 1-0 wins. Do you think they made a mistake against the Netherlands, though, attempting to perhaps sit on 1-0? They did create some chances, but they did retreat a little.
Well, it's their way of playing. They always play that way. They like to counter-attack. The defence has been terrific throughout the whole tournament. They've hardly conceded a goal, and they would have thought that that was the best way for them to do it, and really it is their way of doing it.
7.5 minutes each way. It's golden goal extra time, so if someone scores, then it's all over. And if they don't, then we'll go to strokes. And it's an exciting time ahead as we go back to Wally and Jen.
Argentinian players making their way back out onto the field for the first period of extra time. And now the Netherlands moving towards the goal at the southern end of the Perth Hockey Stadium. 2 periods of 7.5 minutes of extra time can be played, but the golden goal rule will also apply. There's the Argentinian coach, Sergio Vigil. Well, his team had one hand on the World Cup, and they let their grip slip, with the Netherlands scoring that equaliser just under 2 minutes to play, and it could have been worse than that. There you see those video glasses that Mark Lummers has been using during the course of the tournament.
Argentina only adding 1 shot in terms of shots had in the second half, and Netherlands had no shots on goal and 5 shots in the second half. So to their credit, they deserve to get back into this match.
Argentina will play to the right of your screen in the first period of extra time. The Netherlands will start with possession. Donner's just tapping the ball back to Boomgaard. This is Smarvers in the midfield. Skeepstra. The clearance is a long one and will be a free hit to Argentina. The question, I guess, Jen, is whether or not Argentina can pick up the momentum that they had so early in the game and that they let subside.
Yes, they'll need to play, particularly when the Netherlands have the ball in deep defence. They'll need to put a lot of pressure on them, force the Netherlands to make mistakes. That's where they got their goal shots, Argentina, in the first half, putting pressure on the deep defence of the Netherlands.
15 is Scottman going over the top. The only player back there is Ferrari, dragging the ball onto Donner's foot. Back she goes to Isega. Now Rognoni. Wider still to Vorkart. Garcia using her body against her opponent out there in Boy. The ball has gone over the side, so it'll be a free hit to Argentina. Aymar. Oh, gee. It was risky. They've given the ball up on the side anyway, but it could easily have been intercepted by Van Geenhausen. Boomgaard and Scottman. Verbakel dispossessed by Hernandez. Good ball to Aymar. Aymar back in the direction of Hernandez. Garcia's out on the left. The ball inside the circle. Free hit to the Netherlands.
You see, it was a turnover. It was a mistake by Netherlands. Hernandez gets the ball. Clever play between Aymar and Hernandez, but just losing control at the critical moment to have a shot on goal against Senegal.
The Netherlands have the ball on the sideline. Scottman with the hit. It's a beautiful ball too to Van der Vaart. And she has Donners up with her. Donners on the end of the pass. Van der Vaart running past her again. There's no one to cross to, so they're just going to have to hold it up for a moment. But she's been dispossessed. That was well played by Gonzalez Oliver. It was a timely tackle. More de Milo working the ball forward along the back line. Penalty corner. And the Argentinians are not happy. And a player remonstrating. I think it might be Margalot, who is now playing without that face mask.
Yeah, what they're saying is that Mireille de Mello, often she runs and protects the ball with her stick. On that occasion, I don't think she did. It was a poor tackle. Mercedes Margalot not happy with the decision, but it will stand. Now remember the golden goal rule. The first goal will win the match. There goes the shot by Boomgaard, and that was brilliantly saved by Mariella Antoniska. It's a long corner, or is it? No, it's not. It's going to be a free hit to Argentina. Boomgaard flicks it in hard, and this is a brilliant save. Absolutely brilliant. I think
she saved the World Cup.
I think it was just going the corner of the match, saved by a stick. Well done, Antoniska.
Maybe that will lift Argentina. The Netherlands have the momentum at the moment. They have the initiative. Ball just knocked down the sideline. Rognoni keeps it in. Brought it back to an unsuspecting teammate, I suspect. Gonzalez Oliver, the ball to Aymar in the midfield. Good ball out to the left, Garcia. Gee, she's amongst a forest of orange socks. The ball inside the circle, easily intercepted and put over the sideline. It was Boongart. Gee, what a save back there by Mariella Antoniska. This is Hernandez. Well, cleverly done, Ferrari. We've got just over 3 minutes in the first period of extra time remaining. Hernandez is inside the circle. The ball runs free and Van der Vaart will be able to tidy up. She won't. Fortunately for the Netherlands, it came off Gonzalez Oliver's foot.
One thing I will say there, Garcia, we know that she's very good in the circle, but Aneto, who's not on the field, she is always hovering around that penalty stroke where that ball went. She was not there.
Here come Argentina again. Margalot, Gonzalez Oliver. Ball jabbed away by Van der Vaart, but it's going to be a free hit to Argentina. They're inside their attacking quarter line. We've got 2 minutes and 38 seconds of the first period of extra time remaining. Argentina taking their time in the build-up. This is Isega. Long corner to Argentina. Garcia gets the ball inside the circle, tries to drive it towards the goal. Isega's in there also. Van der Vaart gets back in the corner for the Netherlands. Well plied by the Dutch defence. Cracked out. It'll come back though. We've got just under 2 minutes remaining in the first period. The interception is made by Moray de Milo. This is Donna's. Ferrari came across. The clearance back by foot, back to Ferrari. And Argentina should get out of strife. Hernandez. That was a threatening run by the Dutch. Scoopstra goes down under a heavy bump. She gets to her feet now. The umpire's whistle's gone. It's a free hit to the Netherlands just outside the circle. Donnas took it quickly. She saw Patry running towards goal, but they have to do it again. Skeepstra's back on her feet. She's okay. Just over a minute in the first period of extra time remaining. Donnas to Boongart. The ball back to the top of the circle, but there was no one there. Garcia out of defence. She's lost control of it. Free hit to Argentina. Inside the last minute of the first period of extra time. The game's still locked at 1 goal all. Stepnik goes wide to Vorkart. Close to the line. Aymar was able to keep it in. That's not a good clearance. Marvis has made the interception. Hernandez got there quickly. Ferrari read that well. Marsota losing the ball on the side. It was knocked out by the Netherlands. Ferrari with Stepnik in space. Smarvers dispossesses her. This is Patry. Donnas is the only player up with her. And going back strongly was Gonzalez Oliver. Margalot there to lend support. And we have only a matter of seconds remaining now in the first period of extra time. There's not time left for either team to score. There's the buzzer. That ends the first period of extra time. And it's still Argentina 1, the Netherlands 1. And the teams are now required to change straight over. So the Netherlands players come across to the side. It's the Argentinian captain. Drink bottles being handed out. Argentinian players by the side, as are the Dutch. And now the umpires talking to both groups, telling them that they've got to change straight over, calling them back out onto the field.
It may get down to a question of who is feeling the least amount of fatigue here. Not just in ability to run, but also decision-making. We've seen in that first period of extra time a few mistakes made by Rognoni, which is unlike her. So whether it's fatigue or just simply pressure, the Netherlands seem to be handling the pressure and the game in these last 10 minutes or so better than Argentina.
Comments from Jen Morris. Olympic gold medalist. 7.5 minutes of extra time remaining. The golden goal rule still applies. And if scores are still level at the end of this period of extra time, there you see Yannick Scottman, who received a very severe facial injury in the semi-final, but she's out there. If scores are still level at the end of this period of extra time, then the game and the World Cup will be decided on penalty strokes. Argentina taking the push again. Aneto is on the field. Hernandez works the ball out to the right. Argentina, as you can see, playing to the left of your screen for this 7.5 minutes. Stepnik. Dutch are back there in defence, in numbers. Stepnik again. Margalot calling for it way out on the right. She didn't see her. That might have opened things up a little bit because it's very congested. They come back outside the attacking quarter line. Isega, strong cross towards the top of the circle. Opportunity now as the ball is run out by Van der Vaart. She swings it out wider still. This, in fact, was Van der Vaart. She received from Smarmers back into the midfield. They've lost control of it. Aymar getting back to help out. Trying to feed the ball through to Gonzalez Oliver. Didn't hear a whistle. Maybe the advantage was paid. And now it will be a free hit to Argentina. They work it down the right. Hernandez was the player. Went over the sideline. Number 4 is More de Milo. Number 15 is Scottman. Ferrari missing with the trap. That gives the Netherlands an advantage they wouldn't have counted on. Ball going further afield for them, and they have possession. Good tackle made out there by Hernandez. It comes back to Garcia. Garcia and Aneto both on the field, and that hasn't happened too often. The pass is not a good one. Opportunity for Argentina. Gonzalez Oliver feeds Aneto. Skeepstra was the challenger. The ball inside the circle. It's swept out by Scottman. And von Gainhausen was the only player there. Back to Skeepstra. Verbakel.
Players looking very tired now, Wally. Not only have we seen a few errors creep into the match, but not a lot of run for the person carrying the ball, providing leads.
Hernandez long, looking for Aneto. Free hit from the top of the circle to the Netherlands. The ball back into the midfield. Came off an Argentinian foot. Free hit back near their defensive quarter line to the Netherlands. We've got less than 5 minutes remaining in the second period of extra time.
The game slowed down quite a bit now. Whichever team is going to win this, if it's going to happen in this last bit of extra time, it needs a special effort by a couple of players to run just that little bit harder, provide options for the ball.
Hernandez mistrapping. Netherlands with the ball again. Donners, she's up high. Verbakel has run into the circle. Wasn't a good cross, and Argentina can take some pressure off here with this free hit.
Miss May de Klerk has been under a fair amount of pressure the last 20 or so minutes, ruling that it was a long corner there. I'm not sure if it was.
Well, the Netherlands have still got possession as a result of that decision. The ball is played into Ferrari, and it will be another long corner to the Netherlands. Donners just tapping it to More de Milo. Free hit to the Netherlands. Here comes the cross from Donners. The ball flying high. More de Milo back. It's going to be another free hit to the Netherlands. We've got less than 4 minutes to play. If there's no decision after this period of extra time, penalty strokes will decide the World Cup. The Netherlands with the ball from the side. 3.5 minutes to play. Long corner. Argentina just can't get the ball out of there. The Netherlands can't make a good shot at goal. There's a better ball. Patry is there. There's trouble. Penalty corner. It's a penalty corner to the Netherlands.
Just sheer strength by Patry there. She had the ball on her stick. Great flat pass by Donners. Mercedes Margolite had the ball, it bounced off. Patry was there to jump on her, get the ball on the stick, force the penalty corner.
Well, it was a penalty corner that kept the Netherlands in the game in normal time. Could it be a penalty corner that wins the cup for them? Boomgaard with a shot, and it's just tapped along the side of the net. Another terrific save this time by Mariella Antoniska. Both goalkeepers have done well. Antoniska in particular has made a couple of brilliant saves. And now with 2.5 minutes remaining, Rognoni runs the ball through the midfield, and she's sent Aymar away in space. She's had to go a long way out to the right to retrieve the ball, but Argentina making a very quick response. She lifted that ball, and it will be a free hit to the Netherlands, and the clock stops with 2 minutes and 8 seconds remaining in the second period of extra time.
Boomgaard gets onto this, and Antoniska, those big gloves are getting bigger, and she needed every centimetre of that, just getting enough glove on it to force it wide. And then we saw Rognoni. This is what she does. She runs up to the middle of the field. She made a good pass to Aymar. Unfortunately, lifted play, and Netherlands get the ball back.
It was a bad mistake just outside the circle. They'd done the hard work. Here's Ferrari. Aymar again. She is so creative. Good ball. Hernandez working across the attacking quarter line. She's got Margolite out on the left. Margolite gets it into Garcia. Garcia couldn't control it with the tip of her stick. And the Netherlands get out of trouble this time. Minute 40 to play.
Ball coming through. Just not a good initial trap by Garcia, unable to control the ball.
If it goes to penalty strokes, do you have a leaning to one side or the other, Jen?
I think the Netherlands. Not so much necessarily the goalkeepers, but I do think that they take better strokes.
Aneto trying to get the ball forward, and she's got the free hit for Argentina. We have a minute 15 remaining. It's a minute 12, in fact, and the clock hasn't stopped. It's counting down. Chance here for Argentina, and the ball passed dangerously across in front of the goalkeeper. No one able to get a stick on it, and it will be a free hit to the Netherlands.
Ball comes in from Osega. Aneto is there. She's always there. Just enough stick on it. Enough confusion in the circle. No shot on goal.
45 seconds remaining in the game in the second period of extra time. Another opportunity here for Argentina to try and establish a scoring opportunity. Aymar's dispossessed. Well played by More de Milo. The ball out over the sideline. Less than 30 seconds to play. Argentina need to strike the ball into the circle. Hernandez, 20 seconds to play. Chance for Gonzalez Oliver. It's inside the circle. Knocked out cleverly by the Dutch defence, and Patry runs it away. And I don't think they've got time to get it to the other end of the field and set up a scoring chance. Skeepstra's dispossessed. The ball rolls over the sideline, and the World Cup is going to be decided on penalty strokes. The second period of extra time comes to an end, and the Dutch coaching staff start to rack their brains and revive the strategies that they would have discussed previously. At the end of the second period of extra time, it's still Argentina 1, the Netherlands 1.
Since half-time of normal time, Argentina have only had 1 shot on goal, and the Netherlands have had 7. Same with their penalty corners, 7 shots, 7 corners as well, perhaps all their shots coming from corners. Penalty strokes, it's always an awful way to decide any game, let alone a gold medal at a World Cup. I think that Antoniska for the Argentinians, she has played a very, very good game. She has kept it in the match. She'll go into the penalty strokes with real confidence, but you have to score these penalty strokes, and I think that the Netherlands have a fair tradition at taking penalty strokes, and I think they'll be the better side.
Well, there'll be a lot of discussion in both of the dugouts at the moment as the two coaches just confirm their order of shooting here and their tactics. Not that you can employ many tactics. I guess there is a lot of research done, is there, on where particular players place their strokes?
If you are smart, you go into a World Cup knowing who are your best penalty strokers, who, obviously your goalkeeper you pick, but also you need to know where penalty stroke takers put their shots, and the goalkeeper should have a whole index of who takes penalty strokes, where their favoured position is, and perhaps any weaknesses of goalkeepers. But the most important thing when you take penalty strokes, if you're one of the stroke takers, is to pick your spot and flick it hard into the corner.
Yes, there's a famous story that's often related amongst Australian hockey players from the 1988 Olympic Games, when Kath Partridge was the goalkeeper, and as the Australian team was leaving a training session just before, I think it might have been a semi-final, Peter Freitag, who was one of the assistant coaches, happened to see the Dutch team practicing their penalty strokes, so he stayed and videotaped that, and when they got back to the games village, he sat down with the goalkeeper, Kath Partridge, and they noted where the Dutch players were putting the ball, where they were placing the stroke. The number was noted and the direction of the stroke was noted, and when a penalty stroke was eventually awarded in the following game, Partridge had those numbers written on her forearm or on her pad or somewhere, and as soon as one of that players stepped up, she anticipated, on the basis of the knowledge they had, which way the stroke would go, the shot would go, and she did that, anticipated correctly, and saved the stroke. Australia went on to win the game and the gold medal.
Generally speaking, the penalty stroke taker should score the goal, so often it is much about prior knowledge and anticipation on the goalkeeper's behalf. And when it comes down to something as pressurised as this situation, you'll find that stroke takers will go with their favoured spot. If you have that knowledge as a goalkeeper, you're steps ahead.
Well, there you see the Argentinian coach, Sergio Vigil. He must be ruing the fact that he's even in this situation as part of the Dutch crowd. His team scored a goal in the first 5 minutes of the game in normal time, and it looked as though they were content to sit on that for the remainder of the game, and then with just 2 minutes left in normal time, the Netherlands converted a penalty corner opportunity to tie it up. They in fact nearly won the game with a succession of penalty corners just before and just after the final buzzer, but at full time the score was locked at 1-1. After 2 periods of extra time, the teams still couldn't be separated, and now we go to penalty strokes.
It can be said that Argentina simply did not create enough opportunities for themselves in the second half and in both halves of extra time. The Netherlands, to their credit, they made scoring opportunities. They forced penalty corners. That is often how they score a lot of their goals, and they forced their way back into the game. Now, I guess it's irrelevant what's happened. It's 1-1. We go to penalty strokes.
Mariela Antoniska is the Argentinian goalkeeper. She looks pretty relaxed about it all at the moment. Now you see the Argentinian crowd in their traditional blue and white striped tops. The hockey team is very similar, their uniform very similar to the national soccer team, and that's a terrific tradition, I think. There you see Agustina Garcia. She hasn't been the dynamic influence in this game that she was earlier in the tournament, but she's had to share her field time with Neto.
We see Vorkart, Aymar, Margalot, Neto, and I think it's Rognoni for Argentina that'll be stepping up. And Schmabers, Donners, Moray de Mello.
Yes, well, it looks...
Sorry,
Jen, it's going to be Mercedes Margalot who will take the first stroke for Argentina. I'm not sure which team will, in fact, start the series. The first stroke taker for the Netherlands will be Agate Boomgaard, and that wouldn't surprise anyone. And Argentina will take the first stroke. So Clarinda Sinegar, the Netherlands goalkeeper, will be called on to face the first stroke taker, who is going to be Mercedes Margalot. Now, I can only presume, I don't know, but I presume that Argentina won the toss and elected to take the first stroke. I would think there'd be some sort of psychological advantage if you can get the first goal in. The other team is always coming from behind there.
Yeah, if you win the toss, generally you go first, although Antoniska has had such a good game that perhaps if Argentina have won the toss, they put her in first to try and make this save against Boomgaard to put the pressure back on the Netherlands. Antoniska has had much more to do, particularly in the latter half of this game, more so than Siniga. Perhaps she'll be in a little bit more touch, but it really gets down to your penalty stroke takers putting the ball in the net.
In fact, it's the Netherlands who are going to take the first stroke. It will be Argate Boomgaard. And Mariella Antoniska is the keeper in the goal mouth. So the Netherlands with the first stroke in this penalty stroke shootout to decide the World Cup. It's hit the crossbar and come out. And Argate Boomgaard is probably their #1 penalty stroke taker.
She flicks this hard. She had Antoniska beaten, but it's hit the crossbar. She flung that with real power. She'll be upset with that. Antoniska did not get a touch on it, but nevertheless it goes down as a save for Argentina.
So Mercedes Margalot steps up to the spot. Clorinda Sinigar is the goalkeeper. It's saved, and that was a brilliant save by Sinigar. Both teams have missed their first stroke.
My goodness, Siniga has got her team back into this. It was flicked at glove height, so it needs to be either much, much higher or much lower in the corners. It was at a height where Siniga was able to get her gloves on. It was flicked hard, though. You still have to make the save. Well done by Siniga.
So now the Dutch captain, Mange Donners, with the second stroke for the Netherlands. Neither team has scored. It's saved, and that was a brilliant save by Antoniska. 3 penalty strokes have been taken and none have been converted.
Yeah, once again, it's at that height that enables the goalkeeper to make a save, and it wasn't too far either in terms of width. What's interesting is that Aneto is actually going to take a stroke for Argentina. I think perhaps with a broken hand, not the right idea.
Now this is Vorkart, Claudia Vorkart, who is at the spot. The goal here would put her team in front with 3 strokes to be taken by each team. Oh, it's gone in, but I'm not sure that was as convincing as she would have liked. And now there is a dispute here, is there?
Donners is saying that she's actually taken 2 steps. And you're only allowed to make one step before you move the ball.
I think the goal is going to stand. Let's have a look.
No, I think that's fine. Donners is clutching at straws there. How often do you see it? Often the best stroke is low and hard.
Now this is Minky Schmabers.
She'll flick high.
And it's been saved. It's been saved. Argentina edging slowly towards their first ever World Cup victory. The Netherlands have missed with their first 3 penalty strokes.
Minky Schmabers, once again, it's at that height that's not so much easily able to be saved, but you need to go much lower or much higher. Good save by Antoniska.
Now Vanina Oneto steps up to the spot.
She generally flicks the ball very, very hard. Obviously, she has enough confidence that her broken hand isn't going to limit her in her shot.
Clorinda Sinigar in the goal mouth is an imposing figure. It's saved. It's saved. She put it straight onto the glove. So the Netherlands survive.
Almost straight at the goalkeeper there, and you can't help but think that perhaps that's not necessarily the right decision by Sergio Vigil, although you have to put faith in your penalty stroke taker. If they're willing to take it, you have to go with that.
Both teams have 2 strokes remaining. Now, this is De Bruyne, Chantal De Bruyne at the spot for the Netherlands. Argentina have scored 1 out of 3. The Netherlands haven't scored from their 3 strokes. And that's saved. Oh, this has been a brilliant performance by Mariella Antoniska. She didn't actually save the first shot from Boongard. It hit the crossbar, but she saved the others.
Now that was a very good save. It was flicked hard, it was flicked low.
Disappointment, an anticlimax. And now Cecilia Rognoni can win the World Cup for Argentina if she can convert this penalty stroke. She saved it. Senegal has saved the stroke. Both teams have 1 remaining penalty stroke. The Netherlands haven't scored from their first 4. Argentina have scored once from their first 4.
Rognoni, she looked like she slipped as she was taking that ball and then flicked it. Not a good flick for her. She generally flicks it very, very hard, and Rognoni's still able to have a smile, but it's really come down as a goalkeeping.
Now, More de Milo will take the last stroke. She has to score. If she misses, Argentina have won the cup. She scored, and that is the first conversion for the Netherlands, and that has kept their hopes alive. And the final penalty stroke in this bracket of 5 will be taken by Luciana Aymar.
More de Milo wasn't a particularly good stroke, but importantly it goes in and it's a goal. Antoniska almost going the wrong way there. It was a glove height for her, but More de Milo, well done for the Netherlands.
Argentina have their second chance to win the World Cup. A conversion here will win the tournament for them. Aymar at the spot. Senegal in the net. And she saved it. We will go to another bracket of 5. 10 penalty strokes taken and only 8 converted. And the next bracket will be sudden death.
Aymar, often you have your best penalty stroke taker go last. Aymar stood up to the mark, was unable to put it in. I tell you what, Senegal and Antoniska, they have been the standouts in these penalty strokes. And now it goes to sudden deaths. So what happens is each player gets a penalty stroke. If one team gets it, the first team to miss, they are the losers. You can go with the same 5 if you wish. You can change the order. This is real pressure.
Well, what a remarkable finish to the 2002 World Cup. It was 1-1 at the end of normal time. It was 1-1 at the end of 2 periods of extra time, 15 minutes in total. It's 2-2 at the end of the first bracket of 5 penalty strokes each. And now we go to a sudden death penalty shootout. And if after these 5, the score is still level, the penalty shootout will continue, but they can use other players.
Yeah, you go in these next 5, if indeed you need 5, you can use the same players that you've just used. You can mix the order up. If both teams go through their 5 and there's still no result, then you need a new 5 players. Those same players cannot take the lot after that.
Well, Argentina really have wasted some very good opportunities to have won this World Cup. They were 1-0 up for most of the game. They had the whip hand during the penalty stroke, the first phase of the penalty stroke shootout.
We note here that the order, Boomgart went first. I'm pretty sure in the first lot of strokes she went up there to take it. Now she's been sent back. Argentina will be sent up. And it's Margalot Mercedes.
Yes, Mercedes Margalot is the player who will go to the spot first for Argentina. Clorinda Sinagar is the Dutch goalkeeper, just belting her pads. Now the goal, like a weightlifter, psyching herself up. And she scores. Argentina make the first shot.
A smart idea. Mercedes Margalot goes up to take the stroke, and I tell you what, that is real pressure there to miss your first one. She comes in, she just flicks it very, very hard. Well done by her, and it's courageous play. These penalty strokes are not easy things to take, particularly in a World Cup gold medal final, particularly when you've missed your first one. The Netherlands here have gone with Boomgart. That's a smart idea. Her first stroke just hit the crossbar, but she flicked it very, very hard.
Here's Boomgart. What a dramatic finish to the World Cup. She's converted. It's 1 goal all.
Well done by Boomgart. Perhaps Antoniska was expecting her to go high once again. She did pick the side that she was going to go, but enough power got her there. Well done, Argate Boomgart.
Claudia Vorkart goes to the spot for Argentina. Remember, this is sudden death, this penalty shootout. She scored. Argentina lead 2-1, but the Netherlands have a shot in hand.
The pressure goes back on the Netherlands now. Well done by Vorkart. She gets it wide enough. Siniga unable to get to it. We see the captain, Donners, she missed her first penalty stroke. She needs to score this to keep Netherlands in the game.
Range Donners just bouncing the ball off a stick. Is there more pressure on the goalkeeper or the stroke taker?
Definitely the stroke taker, I think. You're expected to score the goal.
Donners facing Antoniska. It's in, just. It's more a look of relief than excitement. 2 goals all.
We just saw Donna's reaction there. I think she thought, oh my goodness, it just clipped the right side of the post and goes in, but who cares? A goal's a goal. It's all even.
Now, Cecilia Rognoni to the spot for Argentina. She scored. The pressure is back on the Netherlands, and specifically on Minky Schmavers.
Rognoni puts it the other way, makes Siniga go the opposite way.
In fact, there's a change in the order. It's Fatima More de Milo who has gone to the spot. Argentina lead 3-2. The Netherlands with a stroke in hand. She must score. And it's been saved. It's been saved. Argentina have won the World Cup. And the Argentinian players descend on their goalkeeper, Mariela Antoniska. Argentina have won the World Cup by a goal aggregate of 5-4. And the Dutch players are very disappointed as their coach Mark Lunners makes his way up to their group. There are joyous scenes here at the Perth Hockey Stadium amongst the Argentinian supporters. There's Fatima More de Milo, the player who missed the last stroke. She's being consoled by her teammates, but there were a lot of other missed opportunities before hers. And the Argentinian players engaging in a victory jig.
They finally get their gold medal that they've been searching for a number of years.
Yes, they've been runner-up in this tournament 3 times, 1974, 1976 and 1994. And finally in 2002 in Perth, they break through to win their first ever World Cup. And there you see the tears of disappointment amongst some of the Dutch players. But much celebration and much to celebrate amongst the Argentinian team. They went so close to securing this victory earlier in the game, firstly in normal time, then in the first phase of the penalty stroke shootout. It would have been a devastating loss had they not won it, but they did win it. And they're going to celebrate long and hard, I'd suspect. Terrific performance by Argentina. They were the only team that didn't drop a point during the course of the tournament. They won their 7 pool games. They won their semi-final. And they eventually have won the final by a goal aggregate of 5 goals to 4. And that came after 2 periods of extra time, 1 bracket of penalty strokes, and they were into the 2nd bracket of penalty strokes, a sudden death situation. And Argentina have emerged victorious. And the Argentinian players now doing a lap of honour. They just pause in front of a very loyal, boisterous, vocal group of supporters. And they now do the traditional victory slide.
It's almost worth Argentina winning to see them celebrate. They know how to celebrate. They're going over there to thank their loyal fans.
There you see Argate Boomgart in the goal at the opposite end of the field. She is a very lonely and forlorn figure. She's sitting inside the net on her own. She's obviously devastated by this result. She's had a very good tournament, Argate Boomgart. And now Clorinda Sinagar, the goalkeeper, is going down to meet her as the Argentinian celebrations continue.
That's the sad cut of defeat. Often it breeds loneliness. When you win, everyone sticks together. Donis is laying down on the field here by herself. Boomgart Siniga's just gone to console her.
And, the Argentinian players just moving across in front of the goal where Argate Boomgart is being consoled by Clorinda Sinagar. She is quite devastated as we see the World Cup trophy being brought out onto the Perth Hockey Stadium. And now Argate Boomgart leaves that net. You can just see her off to the right with Clorinda Sinagar. As the Argentinian celebrations continue, they've won the World Cup on a goal aggregate of 5 goals to 4 over the Netherlands.
Well, they do know how to celebrate, and Rick, as Wally pointed out, 3 times runners-up, 74, 76, 94, runners-up at the Olympics. Surely they deserve something.
Oh, I think they deserved it. They've built a team during the last decade. 3 of these players were in that team in '93 that won the Junior World Cup. They've waited a long time to make it at senior level, but they did it today. It wasn't emphatic. It was a really tough, hard thing, and to win on penalties is very close. disappointing for the Netherlands, but most of the people here would be delighted to see Argentina win. They were the most attacking team in the competition. Their defence was terrific, and in the end they got their reward.
There are some highlights we can look at again from late in this match. Argentina and the Netherlands, and that Boomgaard missed the first one, and the goalkeeper just had a wonderful opening to this.
Well, these are all safe flicks. There's tremendous pressure on in this situation. All these players going for the safe flick on to the right, and the only one who went the other side was Minky Schmabers, and terrific goalkeeping, really. The quality of Antoniska, her saves and the saves of Senegal was something outstanding.
Only 2 of the first 10 scored, and then we went into the second battery of 5 apiece. And who'd be a goalkeeper?
Had Aymar got her last one, it would have been over, but then they went flick for flick. Boomgaard scored, Mercedes Margalo scored, Burkhardt scored, she's only a young girl, 22, real pressure there, she did well. Donna's snuck hers in, and it came down to Romnoni, the first one brave enough to go the other side. De Mello's was saved, and there it is.
Well, Antoniska, she had a wonderful tournament and a wonderful penalty shootout, and you know, one of the players of the tournament, really.
Well, unquestionably, I would have thought she's the goalkeeper of the tournament, and certainly in the best 4 or 5 in the whole tournament, because her effect on the performance of Argentina was so significant. Against Australia in the semi-final, remember, she made a couple of crucial saves when Australia looked like they could come back.
Well, that match all but overwhelmed